A tiger roars in the jungle to announce its presence. But a cat? A cat moves silently, precisely, until it strikes with deadly force. He was many things. A warrior, a mystic, a teacher, a survivor. He was elegant. He was mysterious. He was ruthless. To the world, he was Gogen Yamaguchi. To those who knew him, he was simply the cat. This is the story of a man who turned hardship into power, silence into authority, and discipline into legend. Subscribe now and step into the shadows of one of the most feared and revered masters in martial arts history. Born in 1909 in the sleepy town of Miyagi, Kyushu, Jitsumi Yamaguchi grew up during a time of massive transformation. Japan was shifting from a feudal society into a modern empire. The samurai were gone, but their ghost lingered in the dojos, shrines, and homes. Young Jitsumi's father was a traditional man, and discipline ruled the household. From early on, the boy was taught the virtues of silence, humility, and respect. He studied kendo, then judo, but none of it felt complete. It was during his teenage years, at a time when Japan was looking outward to the West and inward toward its own traditions, that Jitsumi encountered karate. And it changed everything. At Ritsumeikan University in Kyoto, Jitsumi dove into law, but his real education was happening outside the classroom. There, in an underground dojo, he was introduced to Goju-Ryu, a style born in Okinawa, refined in China, and embodied by one man, Chojun Miyagi. Jitsumi was captivated by the balance between hardness and softness, by the deep stances and explosive strikes, but also the internal power, the breathing, the calm. When he met Miyagi, something clicked. He saw not just a master, but a mirror, a glimpse of what he could become. From that day on, the law student became a martial artist in body, mind, and spirit. He would take on a new name, Gogen, and step into a destiny that would shape the next century. In pre-war Japan, karate was fragmented, regional, and secretive. Each style held its techniques close. Each master guarded his kata like a family heirloom. Gogen Yamaguchi broke that mold. With permission from Miyagi, he began systematizing Goju-Ryu. He created a standardized curriculum, introduced the Taikyoku kata to help beginners understand flow and rhythm. He opened dojos in universities, training a new generation of students, and slowly built a network of disciplined practitioners across the country. His method? Rigid, demanding, spiritual. Classes began with meditation. Students bowed to the ancestors. Training halls were treated like temples. Yamaguchi believed karate wasn't just a tool for self-defense. It was a means to understand life itself, and he was just getting started. It was during this period that Gogen Yamaguchi earned his nickname, the Cat. Not because he was soft, but because he moved with a quiet, lethal grace. Observers said he could strike without warning, evade without effort. His footwork was like water. His gaze could unnerve grown men. He studied animals, their movements, their instincts. He believed that a martial artist should be both predator and prey, ready to pounce, ready to endure. In his movements, students saw a tiger's coil, but a cat's precision. The name stuck, and soon, the cat was a legend not just in Japan, but across Asia. World War II would test everything he had built. Yamaguchi was drafted as a military officer and sent to Manchuria, where he served as an intelligence agent. But as the war ended, he was captured by the Soviet Red Army. They sent him to a Siberian labor camp, a place where men disappeared into the snow, never to return. But Yamaguchi refused to die. He trained daily, in snow, in silence. in solitude. Some prisoners mocked him, others stared in awe. There are stories, never verified, that he killed a guard in self-defense, that he taught other prisoners to resist, that he meditated until he could feel his own heartbeat slow. Truth or myth, it doesn't matter. Because when he returned to Japan, he was different. He walked slower, spoke less, but his presence was thunder in a whisper. The war had shattered Japan, but in the rubble, Yamaguchi rebuilt. He founded the International Karate-Do Goju-Kai Association and began spreading Goju-Ryu across the globe, from Tokyo to California, from Sydney to South Africa. He sent his sons, Goshi and Gosei, to continue the mission. He invited foreign students into his dojos, taught diplomats, soldiers, artists. To train under Gogen Yamaguchi was to enter a new world, one of silence and sweat, one of precision and pain, and always, always respect. He believed in lineage, in spirit, in the idea that through karate the individual dissolves into something eternal. He wasn't building fighters, he was building temples. Among Gogen Yamaguchi's many students, one stood out for his raw power, intense discipline, and unrelenting spirit: Masutatsu Oyama. Oyama trained under Yamaguchi in the Goju-Ryu tradition, but longed for something more brutal, more direct. He broke away and founded what would become Kyokushin karate, a style rooted in Goju, yet hardened by full-contact fighting, iron discipline, and bare-knuckle conditioning. But he never forgot his roots. Many of Kyokushin's techniques, stances, and kata trace directly back to Goju-Ryu. The philosophy of spirit over strength, the idea of inner mastery, these were seeds planted by Gogen Yamaguchi. And though their paths diverged, the shadow of the cat followed Oyama throughout his life. Kyokushin became one of the most influential styles in the world. Its tournaments fierce, its training unforgiving, but at its heart, there was still Goju. More than a technician, Yamaguchi was a spiritualist. He practiced Zen daily. He infused his teachings with elements of Shinto, Buddhism, Taoism. Students meditated under freezing waterfalls, chanted sutras, performed breathing rituals that aligned the body with universal rhythm. He believed that to master karate, one must first master the self, and to do that, you had to face your demons, fear, ego, weakness. His tests weren't just physical, they were mental, emotional. He wanted to see if you could hold your stance when no one believed in you, if you could bow when you wanted to run, if you could breathe when all you felt was panic. Gogen Yamaguchi passed away in 1989, but his death was not the end. His teachings live in thousands of dojos. His lineage continues through his sons and students, and Goju-Ryu has become one of the most widely practiced karate styles in the world. You see it in kata tournaments, in self-defense classes, in MMA fighters who borrow from his principles. But more than that, you feel it. In the silence before a fight, in the breath before a strike, in the moment when the world stands still and the warrior within awakens. Some warriors make noise, others make history. Gogen Yamaguchi did both. From the snow-covered camps of Siberia to the echoing silence of the dojo, he carried with him a truth. That real strength is silent. That power begins within. That a whisper can be deadlier than a scream. This was the story of the cat who roared. And if it moved you, stay with us. Because there are still legends to tell. Subscribe and walk the path with us.